Eyes and ears and mouth and nose.
Head
and shoulders. Is it toes? Is it toes?
Mom, I'm hungry. Can I eat that for real?
Yeah, that's your lunch. You looking for daycare? I'll watch your kid. I was licensed at once. Hi, I'm Kristen. This is my very first video on my channel, Baby Steps. I'm a mother of 4 kids, and I have been a licensed childcare provider for the last 10 years and in my house. Now, this is the state of Michigan, so your state might have different rules, but I did want to go over some different helpful tips for you to find a good daycare. So first of all, there's 2 different types of daycares. There's daycare centers, and they're usually in buildings, churches. They usually have a few different workers, and no one lives there. And a lot of times they have like learning activities and like a vehicle to go around and go to like the zoo or, the library or whatever. Now, there's also home daycares. They're licensed too, and that's what I run. And that's where the person in charge lives there. And they can have 1 to 12 people, daycare kids that they watch. If they have 6 to 12 kids, then they have, in Michigan, like I said, then they can have like a worker. They need a worker with them. So I wrote down here, if you're searching for a daycare, what to do. First of all, you want to ask friends and family who they send their kids to. So if they have kids, just ask around, ask your loved ones, because their kids might have a daycare provider that they absolutely love, and you want your kid to be in that daycare. Research online, that's a huge thing. Please don't wait for the last minute either. When you're in the hospital or something and you just came out, or the baby just came out and you're like, ooh, I'm going back to work in 6 weeks, I need a daycare. No, do your research early. Look online. Look. If you just Google childcares in the state of Michigan or Hawaii or whatever state it is, then you're going to be able to find a whole bunch of stuff. There should be stuff online about what if they have like a 5-star rating, or if they've had any concerns or complaints at that daycare. Just do your research online. Also, visit many daycares. If you don't know if you want a home daycare or a daycare center, then visit them both. That's what I did. I really like the homey feel, so I wanted to do a home daycare. But the daycare I went to visit, of course I did my research late because it was 10 years ago and I didn't know what I was doing. That daycare I didn't like. There was a girl about this close to the TV, and I wasn't very fond of the daycare at all. There was a big dog. There was a fenced-in backyard, but the whole yard was dirt, nothing to do except play in the dirt. So I went to a center and a couple centers, and the center thing was not for me at all. A lot of people love them, and centers are great if you find the right one. But for me, it wasn't the right one, so I just decided to start my own daycare. Now, so start early. Please start early. Just start early. Research. And even if you're thinking about having a kid, start your research. One of my best clients, I went to high school with her, and she found out I was doing daycare, and she said, my husband and I are thinking about having a kid maybe in the next couple of years. Are you still going to be doing daycare? Can I get your phone number? And see, her child is 6.5 right now. And so this was 8.5 years ago, or 9 years ago, or something like that. She came up to me and asked me that question. Ask lots of questions. If you're really interested in a daycare, you want to ask the daycare provider how they run their business, not how you want them to run their business. There's a huge difference. Don't tell them what foods to serve. Instead say, can I see your menu? And find out what they are feeding the children, because I would want to know what's going in their mouths. Ask them all kinds of questions, such as if they like their job, what do they like about it the most, what their spouse right here, with their spouse, if they're supportive, if they like the daycare. For me, my spouse was extremely supportive. In fact, he even became a daycare assistant for a few years with me. We had a blast together. And so you want the spouse to be supportive, or the significant other, because a daycare is not, if it's a home daycare, it's not just a business. It actually affects the whole family in a good way, or it could be a bad way if there's somebody that's very not supportive. So you want to also meet all the workers in the family. So that is how you find a daycare. Now, the good daycares. It's pretty easy to find a good daycare if you do your research. You're going to want to go into the house or the building center and see if they have books, see if they're playing really good together, ask them if they have a schedule and if you can see it. Ask them how they run their business, what they do throughout the day, how often they go outside, what they do outside. You're going to really want to see all that stuff. One of the biggest things, though, is the kids. These are kids that they're going to be playing with. If these kids are scratching each other and pulling at each other's hair and yelling at each other, for me, I would say no go. I want my kids to play and have fun with their friends and make good friends. With the kids that I watch, they're like my kids' best friends, and that's what you want in your daycare, or that's what I hope you want. So that can be a good daycare. Now the other daycares are the bad daycares. Like I said, there's good, bad, and ugly. Bad daycares can also be licensed. Unfortunately, there are some with centers, and there's also some with home daycares. Things to look for is if the kids that are there, if they're yelling at each other or hitting each other, then that's a bad sign. Any angry big animal that is trying to attack your child is also a really bad sign. What I didn't like about the daycare I saw is there was the TV on, and the provider was just ignoring the kid. And here's the TV on. The girl is about this close to the TV. And the daycare provider is actually going to want you to be very interested in the daycare. So the TV should be off completely. That's my personal preference. And anyway, so also another thing to look for is if there's babies crying and the daycare provider isn't doing anything. So those are just tips to see what a bad daycare is. Also, if they don't work with a food program, I would be a little bit skeptical, because food programs, I know the one that I go through, which is Campfire 4Cs, they're wonderful. And what they do is they do unannounced visits. The more people that do unannounced visits, the better. Fortunately, there's ugly daycares out there. And the reason I know about them and I wanted to mention them is because I have had clients that have gone from ugly daycares to my daycares, and they've actually told me what have happened. And I've had children abused and neglected that have come to my daycare afterwards, and their parents have told me. I've also had, unfortunately, I've actually had one person that the children were getting physically molested by somebody who lived at the house. So how to avoid that, I'm going to give you hopefully some helpful tips and what to look for. First of all, if they're on the sex offender list, please don't go with them. Just anybody in that family is on the sex offender list. And I know people are on the sex offender list for things they've done like 20 years ago, maybe even peed in public or something like that. Just better be safe than sorry in my mind. Remember, if they don't have these, unless they're a family member, I wouldn't go with them either, okay? They're doing daycare illegally in the state of Michigan. But double check with your state. I don't see why it wouldn't be the same. There was somebody that I knew that was looking at daycares, a friend of mine that was looking at daycares, and Everything was great in the daycare. There was a license, the house was beautiful, and there were books and everything. Until they asked the question, is this everybody that lives in the family or lives in the house? And the daycare provider said, oh no, my Uncle Roy lives here. Do you want to meet him? And so they did. They opened this bedroom door, and there he was, half naked, on a bed. And he goes, I'm their Uncle Roy. I love playing with these kids. And I just love daycare. I love all the sounds and everything of the babies and stuff. And the way he was saying it and the fact that he's Uncle Roy, not a daycare assistant, I would steer clear of that one. These are good things to look for. And when your child is in daycare, you always want to look physically at them. If they have like a bruise on their arms or cuts on their face or anything. There's actually my next video I'm going to do is going to be all about, you find a daycare, now what? What are you going to do now? What different things to look for so you know you have the right daycare. So there it is, the good, bad, and ugly. I hope this video really helped out. And so just wait for my next video. It's coming soon.